It's been a few days since I've seen this, so I can breathe now. How y'all doing today? My name is Ryan, and this is Down to Business Reviews. This weekend I saw 12 Years a Slave, directed by Steve McQueen and starring Chiwetel Ejiofor, Michael Fassbender, Benedict Cumberbatch, Lupita Nyong'o, and Brad Pitt. That was not easy. 12 Years a Slave is based on the true story of Solomon Northup, a black man who was born free in New York, only to be kidnapped and sold into slavery during the pre-Civil War years of the United States. I almost don't know where to start talking about a movie like this. I mean, on the surface, it's an Oscar bait movie, filled with A-list celebrities, and it's telling a story from an important part of our nation's history. You see them, all the time, this time of year especially. Last year, it was Lincoln, and the year before that, it was War Horse or something. Once this movie starts, though, you realize very quickly that it is a much deeper, more profoundly disturbing film, closer to Schindler's List. What I can say is that I think viewing this film is something that is very important to do. Slavery was our nation's greatest sin in our own history, and this movie is absolutely unflinching in its portrayal of the brutality that happened. You're not going to this film to have a super happy, fun time Friday night. You're going because you want to learn something, and you want to go to a place emotionally that you might not be able to go to as easily through another medium. This is the closest that you can get to experiencing the darkest part of American slavery, short of hopping in a time machine and going back to pre-Civil War southern United States. There's a heaviness that permeates this film that is absolutely heartbreaking. Every small mercy that Solomon experiences is a huge relief in between long sequences of humiliation and suffering. This film is incredibly intense. There are 4 or 5 scenes in this movie that are so, brutal that it made me physically uncomfortable. And 2 scenes in particular that are so long. The shots are so long, and Steve McQueen just forces you to just sit there and just observe the moment. He forces you to watch, almost in what feels like real time, the suffering of Solomon Northup. Let's just say that in multiple parts of the movie, I could hear people in the audience all around me crying. I think I'm going to forego the right and wrong segment of this review. Not that, this movie isn't a film that is, equally open to critique than any other film, because it is. But the emotions attached to it are still just raw and recent enough that it feels inappropriate to do so. I will say that the film is beautifully shot. There are a couple of scenes where characters are talking that Steve McQueen uses such a shallow depth of field that you feel like you're about 2 inches away from the characters' faces. There are also, as I kind of mentioned before, some shots that are extremely long, some of them almost completely silent, that you're just forced to sit there and be in the moment and kind of just let it happen to you. Chiwetel's performance as Solomon Northup is Oscar-worthy and remarkable. The emotion that the man has in his eyes, whether it's experiencing fear or pain or relief, is just incredible. Solomon is also a musician, which figures prominently into the story, and there's a scene near the end that involves, a group of them singing and his violin that almost pushed me over the edge into a blubbering mess in the theater. There are also a ton of actors in this movie, which you think might be a recipe for a talent bomb, which is a movie that has so many actors that somehow it implodes on itself, but luckily this movie avoids that. Many prominent A-list actors play really small parts, and it works really well. Paul Giamatti's in the film for maybe 10 minutes. Brad Pitt plays an abolitionist that you don't see in the film till the last half an hour. And Benedict Cumberbatch and Paul Dano both play extremely well-acted parts, however short the parts may be. But the emotional weight of the film is carried by Chiwetel's portrayal of Solomon, as well as newcomer Lupita Nyong'o, who plays a girl named Patsy. This was her film debut, and boy is it a doozy. How do you sum up a review of a movie like this? I could just give it a grade or a rating, but it's like trying to grade Schindler's List. Are there some things that could have been done better? Sure. No movie is perfect. There's always something that could have been improved on or done a little bit better. But I think my rating of this film is going to depend more on the impact of the message. That isn't to say that it wasn't well made, because this movie is extremely well made. But it's not so much about being a cinematic, technical piece. It's more about the human heart and suffering and affliction and redemption and salvation. 12 Years a Slave gets an A+. Thank you so much for watching this new release review. If you liked anything that I was rambling on about, please leave a comment down below. My question for you guys is, have you seen 12 Years a Slave? I know it was in limited release for a while, now it's kind of in more broad release. And what are some other movies for you that are hard to watch but have a really important message? I mentioned like Schindler's List. Another one that comes to mind is The Pianist. If you didn't know, I do weekly reviews for SourceFed Nerds Movie Club, which airs every Saturday on their channel. Just check out my other videos. I have like a zillion of them. Be sure you follow me on Twitter, check out my Facebook page, and thanks again so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.